Kamala Harris in the hot seat after another embarrassing week. According to multiple reports, Democrats would rather roll the dice with an 80-year-old Joe Biden than nominate our nation's bumbling Veep. Kamala was asked point blank on whether she's a good fit for 2024.
They don't think that you're the right person to be on the ticket.
I think that it is very important to focus on the needs of the American people and not political chatter out of Washington, D.C.
Do you still want to be president someday?
Joe Biden has said he intends to run for re-election as president, and I intend to run with him as vice president of the United States.
So Democrats don't like her, and neither does the American public, if her latest approval numbers are any indication. But Kamala seems to be in denial about all of that.
Why do you think the president has such low popularity, favorable ratings, and you have even less favorable ratings? Why do you think that is?
I see people thanking the president.
It's not translating.
Thanking our administration.
So Kamala thinks she might be getting some favorable interview with NBC, and she kind of got punched in the face right there. How do you think she handled it?
You know what? I'm going to shock you. She handled that well.
She was on message.
She was on message. She was clear. She wasn't like with all this cackling. And, you know, it's not easy to get 61% of the American public to agree that you're not doing well at your job. OK, only 39% thinks that she is. And the truth is, for a woman who lived in politics and lived on a government salary for decades, to not be able to articulate and speak the way she just did there, I mean, it's about time. She's got the job of a lifetime, the vice president of the United States. And by the way, it took 18 staffers to get her to this point. And one of the ones who's most impressive is Simone Sanders. I think she could straighten anybody out. She can even straighten me out, okay?
That's impossible.
Well, maybe not. But anyway, but for 2 years, we watched word salads come out of her mouth. And she did a good job there. And you know, for 2 years, even football players get media training, and they've done better than her. But I think in the end that if she's serious about this job, you know, this may benefit her. But the Dems fear Joe Biden, and they fear her even more than Biden. So we'll see.
Well, you did bring up a word salad, so I would be remiss if I just didn't play this shot.
We will maintain the perspective that we have in terms of what should be the relationship between China and the United States. That is not going to change, but surely and certainly that balloon was not helpful, which is why we shot it down.
Okay, Jessica. Make sense of that for us, please.
China did a bad thing. We still need to have a relationship.
No, China did a not helpful thing.
Translation is China did a really bad thing.
Okay.
Nothing is going to change in terms of the fact that we know that we have to work with China, but we haven't forgotten the fact that they did a bad thing. And I'd like to speak to some people. She's at the Munich Security Conference, and there are some people there that she's going to have a word or two with about it. And compared to previous, like, remember the clip with the passage of time? It was a great interview. You're completely right. And Andrea Mitchell did not pull any punches with her, went straight at her, said what's going on with the popularity, what's going on with the agenda. And she's completely right to, first of all, stand in line. She's second, right, saying I support Joe Biden. But we talked about this a couple weeks ago when everyone said, oh, his dismal polling numbers. They were dismal at the midterms, and the Democrats performed better than anybody expected. You paid a lot of money to me and Geraldo.
Oh, it wasn't a lot of money for me.
That is so obnoxious.
Go, Jesse.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm embarrassed. I thought I saw a red wave. I didn't see it.
Just say that.
Tell me, I thought it was going to be wavier. So Mitchell kind of went right at her. Yeah. Do you think, as these two ladies they say, is she improving?
Well, listen, I will give Andrea a lot of credit for doing this interview, but she's in the Washington bubble where I live and operate and work, and these are the kind of stories. This is Politico. It said this week, high-level Democrats rallying to President Biden's re-election, not because they think it's in the best interest of the country to have an 82-year-old start a second term, but because they fear the potential alternative, the nomination of Kamala Harris and election of Donald Trump. There are stories all over the place in Washington. Yep. These don't just happen. There have been leaks after leaks, plants after plants of people who have been going after Kamala Harris from the inside of the Democrat Party. So they have created this situation, and now they're saying, we really want Biden because we don't think Kamala Harris can beat Trump, and they think that anyone can beat former President Trump. So they've created this situation, and they're going to have to deal with it.
And the bar is so low with Kamala. I mean, we're all now saying, oh, she did a good job because she
could speak.
Strung a sentence or two together.
Yeah, it's lowered expectations, right?
Yeah.
Which is why all she has to do, I mean, if she were to, say Joe Biden did step aside and she were to run, she would be judged on her past performance, and all she has to do is not burst into laughing every 5 seconds, and everyone's going to think she's great. But I thought that interview was creepy. Just that.
Creepy.
Well, creepy in that it was that nice tone. She was like, "Nobody likes you. Why is that?" She was just. She had this kind of gentle quality, but she was giving her all these tough questions. But Kamala, yeah, she's terrible. Joe Biden, terrible. But it doesn't really matter because with Democrats, as you know, I remember Mitt Romney famously said that 47% of the country is going to vote for you no matter what. That's how you come in. Fetterman, you remember he opened the debate saying, "Good night, everybody." And he still won. So obviously, it doesn't matter if you are a candidate that is impaired. Joe Biden, Fetterman, Kamala.
You know what? We should just start running impaired people because then the bar is so low and then everybody feels sorry for you and you got your 47%.
By the way, that was the argument about Donald
Is what
Trump's
you're
debate
saying.
performances, that we had lowered the bar, that when he strung together a few sentences, it was some huge victory. John Fetterman had had a catastrophic stroke, by the way, when that happened, and he just had to check into the hospital with clinical depression, and I don't think we should be using him as any conversation point.
I feel bad for the citizens of Pennsylvania. That's it. You always think of the voters. We're not here for the politicians. Catastrophic stroke,
everybody
step aside.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.